Hey, it's okay. We know more than you on the Omega Level Nerds. Well, listen, there has been another episode of The Acolyte. This wine here is the Star Wars snob.
Sip your wine, sir. Sip your wine. And
Oh,
happy birthday,
victory.
by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yes, belated birthday was on
Yeah,
Juneteenth, but yeah,
that's
nonetheless,
even
hey,
better. That was
it is.
fate.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. I love it. And it's fate, right? Fate's a big thing in the Star Wars universe. And so I feel, again, with my victory wine here, that all haters can just shut up. All the arguments are just ridiculous at this point. It's quite
Yeah,
sad that you're
yeah,
that desperate. Again, as the Star Wars snob, when I see that someone headbutts a lightsaber and it disengages, well, I immediately
right,
say, hey, that's cortosis weave. Oh, that's wonderful.
right,
But you don't know. You say, oh, headbutt lightsabers now. Because you don't
right.
know enough.
It's okay, and it's okay.
It's okay.
That's why you're just supposed to enjoy and then go. Because I did the same thing. I have not read the comics, but like I know of the comics, and I got through some storylines and this, that, and the third. And so I think I've seen Catharsis before, but when I saw that, I pulled out my notepad and said, "What the fuck was that?" Looked that up later and put my phone down and continued to enjoy the show because I'm learning about these characters and the history, maybe slowly, maybe not in the pace that I would like because I want it all, but the way that they're showing it is making me want more. And um yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to figure out the way to say this, and I think that the best way to do it is try to get it out. I feel bad. Okay? I have I don't have empathy for people who let media hit, like, just I don't know how to like explain it. So like the visualization is like the media is just like wafting on their face, and like it's not sinking in.
Yeah.
It's just like when you watch cartoons as a kid, it's just like, oh, a picture's moving, yeah, and then he hit that guy with a mallet. Ah, commercial, mommy, I want that.
Right.
Next, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't have empathy for them because I cannot fathom not watching, reading, even if it is, because I do watch things that I don't agree with in order to understand where people are coming from, and sometimes it's very painful, and I get mad and I yell and I have to walk away and all these things because I can't believe this is being recorded and people are making millions of dollars off of it. But um, I do it
As you say
because
that, yeah, Jeremy Johns, right? He's got like millions of views on this video where he can't
yeah.
even tell you what cortosis weave is.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, and I don't know, but I'm not gonna hate the episode because I didn't know. I'm gonna figure out what it is and realize how much it's been in the greater lure of Star Wars, and that they're bringing the greater lure into.
The
Growing up as a kid,
legends.
I remember having the conversations about Grey Jedi and the adventures of Luke and Mara Jade and like all that kind of stuff like that. And we were always like, man, wouldn't we want to see like stuff like this on film? Like, I want to see real lightsaber battles, even if it's animated. Like, I want to see Star Wars, how Star Wars is supposed to be. And they've literally been giving you that for like the past 10 years,
Yeah.
and like you're upset. And we'll get into it later, but I really would just like to get to the meat of what it is that you're upset about, which then makes you miss the whole point of what's being presented to you, and then finding the point, or what people think are the point, in all these other weird things. Like, I'll put it to you like this: like, when a black person's in there and you're like, or or even a race swap, and you're like, oh, this racial agenda. Like, who cares though? Ultimately, it's a fictional character. Let's just be realistic about it. Like, yes, there may be some origins, like you're saying with Professor X and Magneto. Like, you would want to preserve their origin story because the way that is can only be really shown, in that way. But like realistically, nah, you could have a what's the country? It's right next to India. Oh my God, I can't
Pakistan.
believe I'm Pakistan. Yeah, you could have a Pakistani Magneto
Yeah, no,
because
I've
this
said,
issue could be through the partition, or
yeah,
you could have an Arabic one from any of their revolts from any different Arabic cultures and ethnicities and all this other kind of stuff. Like it could fit. So ultimately, like, it really doesn't matter. So then please explain. Like, so when saying it doesn't matter, right? If it doesn't matter, wiping the slate clean, what is your actual then real problem, right? And then maybe I can understand how to watch things the way other people do to maybe pick up. Maybe there is something that I'm actually missing. I mean, we debunk it immediately, but like maybe there is something that I'm actually missing, right? And I personally, this is the why I watch things and listen to people and have conversations with people that disagree with me, because I want to understand where they're coming from to better learn where they're getting that from, better learn how to have better ideas against it, because usually it ends up being regressive and selfish and greedy and all other kind of stuff anyway, or hateful. Or at the same time, if it is an actual valid point, incorporate that into my worldview and adapt. Maybe there is an issue with having black women leading Star Wars that I am missing. I'm being good faith with what I just said right now. Maybe there is something I'm missing from having a black female lead in Star Wars, or having Finn actually have a love story with Rey. Maybe there's something I'm missing. If you can give me a valid reason, I will incorporate it into my worldview. But you got to give me a valid reason outside of all the other shit that I know of the reasons why you don't like that stuff. So if you can give me a valid reason, I got you. But I'm pretty sure there's not a valid reason. And so ultimately, then are we not what we're saying that you are, that you get offended or act like you get offended about? And then we have this circular discussion where we're talking about that shit instead of this amazing episode. So I feel bad because I don't have any empathy. I want to have empathy for those who do not understand media. Please talk to me. Please help me understand how you miss every single point that writers are putting in their messages, and then find all this other bullshit that they didn't intend. I really wish. I'll even give you a J.K. Rowling one, to be fair. You know which one I don't get? I don't get how they say that I think the trolls, right? That the trolls are Jewish people. I don't understand
oh
that.
right, yeah,
Outside of the fact that they're bankers, but like, or goblins or whatever, right? So is
yeah,
it because they're goblins, and like is it the
yeah.
nose?
I think you're right,
Like, I'm
probably.
stretching. I'm stretching, right?
Yeah,
As sensitive and as woke and whatever as I am, I don't see it. I don't see that correlation. So when people say that, right, give me a valid reason. If it's the nose, if it's is it the lamb, but all that's kind of a reach. I don't see that one to one. Who else will? If
projecting.
you put anybody as a banker, you're going to be like, oh, that's what Jews are going. Well, so no one can be a banker then. Somebody got to be a banker. Somebody got to make sure my money on time. So what do we do at this point? And so that's what I'm saying. We got to just get through the bullshit, and that's the conversation that I want to have. So I said all that to say, bro, let's go. Let's get in. I'm sorry. Let's go.
But hey, if you got a reason for them, put it down in the comments though, and let us know. Uh, but yes, so we'll stray back, on the road here as far as Acolyte, um, episode 5, spoiler-free review. I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. I honestly thought it was amazing. Um, like you were saying, I'll save that for spoilers. I'm just gonna say that the writing is good for this episode. Um, where they're going and where they're ultimately concluding to, I'm excited to learn more about. There's just very minor misstep in this episode as far as I'm concerned. So I was just thrilled with basically everything. Again,
Right.
just very minor nitpicks. Um, but yeah, excellent, excellent. So obviously, John, you're probably feeling pretty similar. But what's your kind of spoiler free
Um, so
remarks or?
I learned a lot, and um, that's what I like about these kind of like trickle information POV. You know, this angle is gonna make it look like this because there's a bunch of different. Even in this one, there was a bunch of different scenes that like the way that it's being shot at that moment, it's telling you that you're looking at this from Osha's perspective, and then there's still stuff missing even in that shot, even though it's clear as day what's happening. There's
Mm-hmm.
still, we'll get into it, but there's like it's little stuff like that that everybody, I think because they want to find a reason to hate it, or because really because people are getting paid off of it or whatever. But I think that they're just missing this, and watching something else. So I think that, like I said, I learned a lot. I like how they're shooting, how it's being shot. Um, the fight scene was scenes were great. They reveal a lot of things. And yeah, ultimately, I took notes on this one, and I bet I want to, especially because I think the show is for the last few episodes is going to get really even really more twisty, especially about what's going on or whatever, that we got to kind of catch stuff. And I always wonder how the Easter egg guys catch it, and it's because they take notes. So I'm I'm gonna take some more notes, because there's just a lot of things that like I'm seeing and I'm liking, and I want to know more about, and I'm gonna learn more about them from my favorite Star Wars expert, but I'm also gonna learn more about it as the story continues on, because this has turned out to be way better than I expected.
Yeah, I'd have to say, and so we're gonna go into spoiler territory here. Obviously, this episode starts right where the other one began, but like you're saying, from Osha's perspective, because when she, after she was kind of pushed out of the way, which I didn't think she was pushed that hard, but whatever. Um, there's already dead Jedi at this point, so there's already snippets of story that we're not seeing because it was shot from Osha's view. We don't know what happened with Saul because we see this. We've got like 9 lightsabers on screen. I mean, it's truly awesome that we have that. Like,
Right.
cause like you're saying, that's all we ever wanted. I mean, obviously we got something like that even more in Attack of the Clones, but still, just to see that shit going down like that, it's great. It's awesome. Um, but yeah, we're right into this fight, and I gotta say the Smilo Ren, because he still hasn't been given a name, so it's Smilo Ren.
I
It
don't
is.
like it at all, but yeah.
Um, well, we're gonna have to definitely talk
But I
about
get
him,
it.
and
Yeah.
because there is a bit of debate: is he Sith? Is he not? And of course, those that like to hate watch this show. Oh, he says he's a Sith. He says he's a Sith. So those of you that are saying he's not a Sith
That's
are
not what he
wrong.
said, though.
Exactly. That is not what he said at
That's
all.
not what he
Don't
said.
get me wrong,
I mean, that's what he
because
said, but that's not what he said.
that's what he said. But okay, so ultimately, I do think he is a Sith apprentice. And I
Yeah.
think this because of what he said, that he's looking for an acolyte, which is what a Sith apprentice is called, basically.
Right.
So ultimately, I don't think this is our ultimate bad guy here.
No.
And so I thought maybe this was Mother Coral.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think I think Mother Coral may be the actual Sith Lord, and this was her apprentice. I just something is I just feel is involved with these, because he was like he's almost part of that coven, I think, with the way he's talking about being there. Don't you remember me? So I know it's been characterized dumbly as Space Witch cult, but I don't think that it was all females. And again, we're gonna have to see at some point,
So for
because he
that
was
point,
there.
because one other thing that I realized that I probably should do, uh, when doing these shows with you is speculate with you. I don't want to because we end up looking stupid, but because I don't like to do that.
Happens
I'll
all
be
the
this guy that
time.
makes all these points and then I speculate and then I be wrong, and I don't want to do that. So I'm trying to, be on a fair footing. But fuck that. Uh, so here's my thing. I think that considering Quymere is older than Osha, and Osha would, if she was a Jedi, and this was happening to some other Force twins or whatever, she would be there on, I forgot what planet that was, with Soul and Jackie and Yord. She would have been one of the other brown robes. So I say that to say that uh uh Chimere, oh, damn, I lost my fucking thought. Never mind. Where was I
Well,
going with that?
well, we were talking about like, was he there on that planet with the
Oh yeah, that's
sword
right. That's right.
switches?
My bad. Yeah, that's why I lost my thought. I apologize. So, um, since he was old enough or is older than her, I think, backing up a second, Green Yoda, lady, I forgot her name,
Yaddle,
Ventra,
Yaddle.
Venestra. No.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
talking about
Venestra Rowe.
the
Yes,
the high commander or whatever
the
her
one I
name is.
hate. Yes.
Right. Um. So she said, go to Kalnaka's post. He's posted on that planet. He didn't exile himself. He didn't run away. He's posted there. They were posted on Brendok. Why were they posted on Brendok? What is their
Mm.
job in the universe to make sure everybody's safe from their shit? So they were posted on Brendok. I think what, the Brendok 4, if you will, don't remember, or the one guy doesn't talk and Kalnaka is, a Wookiee. They had another person there, and he was a Padawan. And whatever
Mm.
he saw them do, he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then so they do it and they leave him. And then so what does he got? Hatred, fear,
Oh,
suffering, hurt, emotion, dark side. So,
well, and that would feed into his, attitude with the Jedi, because one of the great pieces of writing that I love about this episode, and again revealed that Qmir, is this Dark Lord, is when Soul is asking, "Why do you hide your face?" And he's like, or no, why risk, being discovered? I'm paraphrasing, but why risk discovery? I think is the actual quote. And he's like, "Well, to be fair, I wore a mask, but now
right,
I have to kill all of you, and the
right,
reason I have to kill all of you is because you Jedi say I can't exist. It's
right.
your rules, not mine. I'm just playing by them. So now you know I exist. So I only have one other option."
So, with that very point right there, when it comes to subtext, if you will, considering that, if we take the show writers' perceived agenda to its logical extreme, right? What do what would most of these fans believe that the theme of a woke Disney is saying about them? What's the thing that they're complaining about? That we're trying to erase them. That we're trying to that they don't have, they can't do anything anymore. They can't say anything anymore,
Freedom of
right?
speech, yeah.
They can't use their power the way they want to. Now, I said take it to a logical extreme to like get people to think about it in this manner, but it's really not a logical extreme. If you look at what is happening in our society right now, the whole fervor of what's going on politically or whatnot is you have I mean, the Democrats wheeled in a geriatric um, you know, zombie and got him as president. And then you have a power hungry, weird, hypocritical, convicted felon, 34 times that are running for president. And I can understand why the Democrats would want the geriatric zombie that's been in government for the last 40 years to be president. If you understand how the United States of America works, I kind of understand. I don't agree. I don't like that person, but that's, the lesser of two evils, if you will, because he's the status quo. But on the other end, right, this felon who says he's Christian, but then has sex with a porn star and hush money and convictions and crime and fraud and blah. Okay, so what makes him such a draw? And so, like, not even taking it to its logical conclusion, taking it to its logical surface, we should know they feel, those people feel like power has been taken from them by these inferior people, and they want to take it back. And so the thing about the Sith and the thing about the dark side, which is one of the things that I don't think people are understanding about what the Force is, and the Eastern philosophical, or in the Eastern philosophy that's in balance, what that means. It means understanding your darkness, it means understanding your light, but it means also being, a whole complete person. And if you can understand where your darkness comes from and think about and introspect where your darkness comes from, you can then share your light. But if you're pulling to one side on either way, it's not yin and yang. That yin and yang means harmony and balance. If you pull it to one side, you're doing too much. You pull it to the other side, you're doing too much. Same thing with the Force, right? So dark side, ultimately, I understand where they're coming from. But the point that I have with the dark side is, what does it mean to wield your power? That's the only problem. I mean, that's not the only problem, but that's the biggest flaw of the dark side. Is, okay, sure, ultimate power, emotion, hatred, da 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 da. All right, so I wake up in the morning. What do? Murder a whole planet? Okay, that doesn't, like, we can't just have planet murdering, emotionally stunted weirdos running around just because you want to wield this power.
Yeah.
Like, I get where you're coming from, but like, you killed all them people over there. So, like, sure, you want to wield your power, but if that means that no one can live, why should we let you wield your power? So then that takes you to, I get where the Jedi are coming from, but then they also, maybe doing too much. And this is what we ultimately need to figure out, what it is that we're so afraid that the Jedi did that make them so evil, which I think it may be, but like, probably in that way of, I think I'm doing the right thing, but it's actually, genocide or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, definitely, the Jedi would, when it comes to Sith, they do, I don't want to say murderous doctrine, but, it is very absolute, almost like that, the Sith cannot exist.
Like,
or they
outside
would
of
hide the
character
possibility.
choices. Oh, my bad. But outside of character choices that you can make in the MMO, what does a well-adjusted Sith look like in Star Wars canon?
In Star Wars canon, there would be only
Yeah.
one, and that would be Revan. And he's not exactly, he's Sith and Jedi, but that would be it. And he's kind of
It,
like,
is so Revan. So Knights of the Old Republic 2 is canon.
I'll have to look that up, but I think it is.
Okay.
Because it's one of the video games. Because
And,
the
but
MMO,
and I'm not trying to take it away.
the MMO is
I'm trying to
canon.
I'm trying to find a middle ground for that side of the Force, because ultimately, because the biggest thing about this is this. It's like, if, especially for the what's the main enemy that they have in the High Republic? I forgot what they were called. Um, the group that they were fighting in the High Republic.
I haven't read those yet.
Oh, okay.
This
But
is
anyway,
like,
so whatever their name is, that group, they just wanted to be on their side of the galaxy and like do like maybe there could be like a Sith zone where like if y'all stay in here and want to murder each other, like cool, but like if you gonna come out here, you can have your red lightsaber, but like your first child, we're gonna have to send you back. The first child you kill, like we're gonna have
Yeah.
to send you back over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's my thing because just like how I don't know how, but like just how people can relate to Homelander's pain, or even in this you can relate to where Chimera is coming from, or what it is that that these people who use dark side magic, where they're ultimately coming from. To be honest with you, those witches were probably an example of well-adjusted dark side users.
Yeah.
I'll give them. And to be honest with you, the Night Sisters can when they decide to. So I'll give it that. I'll give them that. Because they use the dark side in their own way. But that's ultimately the thing. So I just don't understand why people don't want to dive into what his motivations could be, what the dark side actually means, what it actually, because I don't think we've ever seen any real media from that perspective. I mean, we have like the Plagueis book, and we have like the Darth Vader comics, but we really don't really see things from truly the dark side. I mean, you really couldn't. Who would want to read that realistically?
Right on. Well, because I think there's interesting Sith characters out there, because it is a spectrum. Like, not every Sith, in general, Sith like really aren't about murdering, but they're about power, and but the only way to gain power, unfortunately, involves murder a lot of the time. Because
Lie, cheat, steal,
yeah,
deception.
like people don't just give up their power, so you have to you have to take it from them. Um, and ultimately, overindulgence in the dark side shows that it does ultimately corrupt you. Like it's why Palpatine looks fucked up and decrepit, because like if you seep too much into the dark side, it literally will fucking eat you.
Yeah, starts with your
Um,
eyes.
yeah.
Look like you ain't slept in 15 days.
Right. No matter how
And
much coffee
then
you drink.
because Anakin was on Mustafar, like, boy,
Yes.
just take a nap. How long you been up?
Right.
72 weeks? Go to sleep, Anakin.
Could have at least slept when you're in hyperspace.
And that's ultimately my thing, because like, okay, so let's do the half of a storyboard of a day in the life of a Sith Lord comic book. After a while, it wouldn't be able to be printed. Like the Comics Authority would be like, okay, stop. Like no more Sith books, because there isn't there, then there would have to be empathy, there would have to be love, there would have to be something to aspire to, and like the whole point of Star Wars, guys, from George Lucas's balls, is empire and colonialization is bad, and we shouldn't do it. And the only way that you can do it is if everybody bands together who knows what's right to demand what's right. And if you don't, then you're going to get ran by a tyrannical, lying, deformed piece of shit. And if you allow them to stay alive after you do win the war, you're going to end up like them 3 planets on Force Awakens,
Yeah.
because they come back. And then what did they do in the end? So everybody thinks, and again, this is how I know that nobody understands what these movies are about. The Palpatine returns thing threw things off. I'll admit that. But literally every piece of Star Wars media ever since then has justified why that was the thing that happened. Which you can sit there and go, oh, well, they're trying to justify what happened in that movie. Sure. But what was that movie trying to tell you? Like, what was that movie like about? Let the Jedi go because it's not actually the right way to go about using the Force
Right.
on the Force side. Then on the real life side, and here's a hint, empire and colonialization is bad and it kills people. And people don't really like it. Even the people that allow it to happen, nobody, you don't want it to happen to you. So we don't like it. Usually the only way that you can beat that is if you all band together and no matter where you are in the galaxy, come together and save Poe and them from getting crushed by this fleet and get rid of the Empire once and for all together. That's what it's about. Period. If you didn't understand that from the first one, and then the second one, and the third one, through the ninth one, because that's what they all say every single time. Well, not the last three. The last three was how this group that you put in high regard can be corrupted. So you had to explain where the corruption came from. So you got your original trilogy telling you, hey, Empire bad, this how you beat it. Then you get the prequels to see, well, how did this Empire even come in the first? Like, y'all space wizards, how you let that happen?
Right.
Oh, that's what happened. You gaslit your best one and you emotionally manipulated him, and now he don't fuck with you no more, and he killed all your babies. Okay, I see how that happened. Okay, so we need to beat that. How do we beat that? Then we get the sequel trilogy to show you how you beat that. You come together and you beat through all the odds because you can't do it by yourself. But everybody wants Luke Skywalker to do what? Do it by himself. Why? So you can think that you're Luke Skywalker and you could just do it by yourself. You don't do it by yourself. You don't do shit by yourself. Unless you like literally build everything around you as you walk around, you don't do anything by yourself. Everything we do on this planet, we do it together as a collective. So it's not about who has the power, who doesn't have the power. We need to share the power equally. And that's a part of maybe that's why the Sith were like so emotionally unbalanced, is because it's like, hey, maybe we should just let you in and like, hey, if you can, we'll let you use your power, but you can't like do this. Like we'll figure it out. We'll compromise. Then maybe they wouldn't be so like whatever. Like, yeah, there's be a little bit, but like that, then maybe we could actually learn what the dark side is. Because another interesting theory, and I'm done with this part, but maybe the dark side is not what we believe the dark side is. If the dark side is so necessary, why does it always make you crazy? I don't think it's always supposed to make you crazy. I don't think it's always supposed to make you power hungry. I think it's supposed to be something like, prime example, hunger. Check this one. Ooh, analogy king. You have to eat to stay alive. But if you eat too motherfucking much, you gonna be big as fuck. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with being big as fuck if that's just what it is. But if it's hurting you and you get health problems and you have heart disease because the type of food that you're overeating or whatever, like it's not a good thing. So I'm saying this because this is what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to conquer my hunger. That doesn't mean I don't eat anymore, because if I eat, it can give me heart disease or a heart attack or clog my arteries or give me high cholesterol or whatever things that I don't want for myself. Again, I'm not saying that anyone who is fat is bad or anything like that. No, I'm saying that for myself, how I was eating was making me feel and not look the way that I want to. And it's not that looking fat is bad. It's just not my build. It hurts. It hurts me when I'm overweight. So I'm trying to control my hunger. To control my hunger, sometimes you gotta fast and be hungry, which in a way could kill you, like the dark side. The point of the dark side is to not let it succumb you. The part of the dark side is to conquer it. You're supposed to succumb to the light side. That's why they're able to flow with the force. But then they just are just so rigid that flow with the force cuts them off from the other half. You're not supposed to ignore the other half. You're supposed to conquer the other half. We all have darkness, just like that fucking scene. What do you do with yours? Why is the Sith the one making the most sense? Well, because they're the one on the defensive. And the people on defense usually have some valid arguments. But with that said, That's why I want an interrogation of what the dark side is. Because ultimately, if you conquer it, what does that look like? I think that looks like a well-adjusted Jedi that is able to adapt to any type of situation. I can be in rhythm and balance and defense when I need to, or I can smack the shit out your ass when you deserve it because like what are you doing?
Right.
But will you control that though? That's what I'm ultimately thinking that this show is going to show the possibility of. It's not going to be imbued in any character. Everybody's going to look terrible by the end of this, but like I think that's what they're trying to show with the possibility of the Force. You've seen this person who was on the light side be rejected by the light side and then now stuck with the dark side, and then you see someone who was akin to the dark side go deeper into the dark side, but ultimately through her own survival is going to get exposed to the light. But what will that do? Where's the it's such a beautiful potential that I am seeing being played out by the title names, seeing being played out by the way that the characters are, the way the characters dressed. Osha is wearing the lighter clothing, May is wearing the darker clothing. Like it's all right there, and it's exciting to me. So, and then I get passionate about it. But I say all the words, right? And I know I'm going a little long, but I say all the words to say that these words need to be said. We need to interrogate the dark side. In order for you to understand what I mean by interrogating the dark side, I got to explain it. And I did. And so I hope that we are able to, with the further extensions of Star Wars, see what that means, because they're coming out with the new generation soon.
Mm-hmm. The new Jedi.
Like it's coming, what, in like 2, 3, 4, 5 years? It's coming soon. So hopefully by the time we get done with the Skywalker saga completely, we can understand what Star Wars is instead of what you want it to be. And I think that for the people that say that, oh, if you like the show, you're just bootlicking, which is funny how they're co-opting leftist words. That's how you know that it's these chuds that are doing these things. Oh, you're bootlicking Disney and da 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 da. No, I'm just watching a TV show. And while watching this TV show and connected to this further universe, why have we never thought about these things after like 50 years? Why do we just let the dark side be like, oh, that's the dark side, that's the evil side? Is it though? Is it though? I don't think it is. So if it takes Chimere or May or Osha for us to actually introspect about these things after all this vitriol and toxicity, then I hope that's where we go, because we're getting catharsis, which I think that they're going to use as a comeback. Like they're bringing this back, and the Beskar, and like all this is going to be important for the next generation. All these minerals and materials, because these minerals and materials were important in the Star Wars galaxy. If you know anything about what the actual, like the day to day, if this was real, what was going on, what the Empire was doing with the Beskar when they were on Mandalore, what they're doing with the spice, what they're doing with all the other type of materials and stuff like that. So
why Star Killer Base was made on planet Ilum.
Right.
Because planet Ilum has a bunch of fucking kyber crystals embedded in it already. So there you go.
And that's where Thrawn comes into play, because how you figure, so, and I hope they make a movie of this, because how you see or hear, because I had the audiobook of the first one, the first book, how you see, and I visualize it, that's why I'm saying it this way, but how you see how Thrawn moves in order to figure out what this operation was in the first place. That's what the whole first book is. Thrawn knows that some fuck shit going on. You doing too much over here. Mm-hmm. Tarkin is hiding it. What's up? So, and then on top of that, because he's an alien in the Empire and has all this power, he's hated. Sound familiar? Does it sound familiar? And so him and his aide, right, who's lieutenant, who also was kind of hated because he's got this, like, they do it in the book, but he's got this like Star Wars hick voice, right? He's from that part of Star Wars where they talk like Hicks or whatever. So
Right.
he's looked down upon as well in the Star Wars universe. So you got two of these look down upon people rising through the ranks based off of their actual skill and acumen in the Empire. Well, it parallels something. I don't know. I can't put my
Can't
hand
quite.
on it.
Yeah, can't
Or my skin on it, but
put your thumb
there's
on
a
it.
parallel here. You know what I'm saying? But through all that, he figures out what the Empire is doing, and
Yeah.
I don't know what happens. I didn't read the second book. I didn't read the third book, and
Right
then
on.
Rebels happen. So I mean, this stuff is deep if you let it be, and stop worrying. Oh, and another thing about the Conehead, Fucky, what's his name?
Kiata Mundi.
I will never say his name right, and I don't want to. But we also, after 50 years, don't know Yoda's species or actually how long they live. We don't.
No,
Like,
not
we
at
know how
all.
long Yoda lives, but we don't know how long the species lives because we don't even know what the fuck the species is
Yeah, it's never been named. I
to
have
this day.
Star Wars tabletop RPG, a couple different editions back there, and when you look up Yoda, it's always like, everyone else, Luke Skywalker, parentheses, human, but yeah, with Yoda, it's just nothing.
You don't
Just
know.
Yoda. Um,
So if they tell us what his race is that a retcon? Did they break lore by doing that? No. So this is what I'm talking about. Just watch the show, which leads me to the other thing that I think made this episode so amazing was the lightsaber fight.
the
And
lightsaber
so
fight was epic.
um we got the lightsabers hitting the helmet and his gauntlet, right?
He had one gauntlet, which
And that
got
that had it
destroyed.
too.
Yeah,
I don't know. I lost track of the lightsabers not working. At first, it threw me off. So, excuse me. Thank you, Screen Crush. Thank you, um, New Rock Stars. Thank you, Emergency Awesome, for filling that gap for me because I was like, so like, what happened? Is he like doing some force power or
yeah.
whatever?
I knew a lot of people would be thrown off by that. I right away I was like, oh, okay, they're bringing some legend shit in, which is kind of another observation of the people that do just complain about the show to complain about the show, because it's those same people that are like, oh, Legends is great. How can you
Right,
destroy Legends? Oh, they're
right.
putting
He
Legend
didn't.
shit in here. Oh, this sucks. It's
So
ridiculous.
so so what they wanted to do was make Legends canon,
Palpatine Returns is
but
from Legends.
their canon and
Right.
not the fan fiction, which got really weird. And realistically, good majority of it was absolute garbage. I mean, you got the original Thrawn trilogy, that was great, and you got some of the books that were written,
Yeah, Vector Prime and
but
shit
most of
with
that
the
was
Yuzon Vong was
stupid.
cool.
Right. Most of that was
Um,
stupid though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, according to Legends, guys, Chewbacca dies. Now, don't get me wrong. He dies by a fucking moon being thrown at him, so that's fucking epic. But nonetheless,
Moon,
Chewbacca does
a
not live.
moon.
Yeah, a
Oh,
moon on Serpedo, on a planet Serpedno, because Yuzon
was it
Vong.
Star Killer?
No, it wasn't
Did he get a
Starkiller.
moon and a star destroyer at the same time?
No, it was basically Yuzon Vong do this thing where they smash two planets together.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Uzon Vong.
And
Yeah, I forgot.
instead of running like a bitch, he was like, no, I'm going to save as many people as I can until the last
Right.
minute. And then, but anyway, Legends is cool. And I'm
Yeah.
happy that they're bringing some of that in. That's where
Exactly.
Palpatine returns come from, all this other cool shit. Just like this cool fucking lightsaber fight that we get to see.
What
Um,
was your favorite part?
it is, it has to be Jackie. Jackie gave that dude the
Ooh.
business. Rip the
Ooh.
MVP. Rip the
Ooh.
MVP here. But that
Okay.
was because she's the
That was a
one
good fight.
that busted off his mask,
Right. She
Um,
had skill.
she put the most work in. And that's another dumb fucking argument that I'm seeing online is, oh, how did she go from practicing with a stick to she's fighting off
Oh my
Sith
god.
lords, and it's
Oh my
like,
god.
so you've
Oh
never
my god.
watched The Phantom Menace, nor do you just
Right.
understand people
You
just kind of stay in
you've never watched an
practice.
anime in your life. You've never seen
Um,
anything Japanese.
so fuck all that noise, though.
You ain't
Jackie,
never seen a samurai movie before, huh?
right?
Okay. Lord.
Um, you don't think she's gonna be filled with some sort of zeal after watching all these people just
I
get
mean, and then
fucking.
and it's another thing is like, okay, so she's a Jedi, a trained Jedi who was able to go on a mission with her master. Why you saw Anakin? I think
Mm-hmm.
Anakin would have held up just as well, if not would have beat Chimere if he was around during that time. So would you complain that like it's just weirdo complaints? But you know, even though you make a very valid argument about the Jekki, because that one got me. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting that. Or Sidra, Yord. I wasn't I wasn't
Right.
I wasn't expecting that either. I mean,
Mm,
and it was funny because in my notes I was commenting on how annoying he was being.
yeah.
And I'm like, man, this dude's so fucking annoying. And then like he died, and I was like, all right, all right, all right, all right. I
Backpedal.
ain't like the dude or his dumbass haircut, okay, but I ain't want his neck to get snapped. All right,
Right.
I ain't want the dude to die. Um, but no, I liked my favorite part of the lightsaber fight was the Shiska Jedi,
The Shishka Jedi.
the Shiska
Yeah.
Jedi, uh, the Jedi kebab.
Yep. I was thinking about that too.
Um,
Like it might even be in the thumbnail where
I
I'm
got
like, I
one.
have those two in a shish kebab.
I got one.
Okay.
Sith kebab. Oh,
Sith kebab.
got him!
There we
Got
go.
him! Yes, that was dope. This
Yeah,
dude,
it
I was like,
was.
oh, he don't care about anything.
No, you know.
Um, he don't like these dudes at all. I'm not going to just kill you. I'm going to pull you with the force and kill both y'all at the same time.
And
That
then cut your heads
is
off to be
diabolical.
thorough.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then cut your head off. Yeah, forgot about that. They moved. They had to move the camera.
Yeah, no, I like this
And
dude. I mean, by the way, incredibly jacked, by the way. I mean,
listen, I did not know that Jason from The Good Place was that
uh,
ripped. What is going on? I can't really say his name right. Manny Jacinto. I probably said it right, but I
yeah,
like Jason from The Good Place better. I think that fit his not his origin, but the first time we see him,
yeah.
the first time we lay eyes on him, I'm like, bro, Jason from The Good Place is here, and I like Jason from The Good Place in The Good Place. He was a good character. I like that show in general, especially Janet. I love me some Janet. But anyway, so yeah, he's ripped, and that's the thing that threw me off because we never saw his arms.
No, he looked like
So
a
I was
small guy to
thinking,
me.
right, exactly. So I was thinking that that was the master, and then he was gonna come and like help, and then it'd be like two Sith or
Yeah.
Darksiders against all these whatever. Um, but Jackie was dead, so I was trying to process that at the same time because that's when we see his face is
How do
when
you
she
like
died.
that lightsaber of his though, where like he just had a little one, like just to pull little one out and fucking stabbed her 3 times? You know, like
Um,
we're not doing the one stab through the abdomen that everyone seems to be surviving nowadays. He just straight 3 fucking holes and you see it from the back.
I'm going to need to see that move be taught to him, done by someone else, or explained in the plot or lore somehow where that technique came from, or I'm call it a gimmick. There's my criticism. So, okay, Yord and Jekki dying. Backing up a sec, I was expecting deaths. Clearly, they brought brown robes.
Yeah.
And so there was something that I was thinking about when I was watching it, but then it got said and it kind of confirmed that like, oh, great minds think alike. I think it was Ryan, but maybe it was Emergency Awesome or something, but they were talking about how they felt that the episode where they went to Coruscant was like a tone shift, broke the pace. Oh, this is an example of bad storytelling. But they needed to go to Coruscant to get the brown robes, because where were the brown robes going to come from and show you what these stakes are? The stakes, and this is the reason why everybody needs to shut up about and with the toxicity about this show and just let it cook, because um they murdered main characters.
Right. I did
Like,
not like. I thought okay. So eventually, I mean, we kind of thought maybe everybody in canon still will die, but you thought at least Yord and Jackie would survive. At least till the
for a
very
little,
end.
like, right, like, oh
But
man,
no.
we fought that dude, let's process this. and
Yeah.
and then there'd be a conflict of whether to tell the council, because the way the council is getting political and all that kind of stuff like that. Like, I figured it was going to kind of play out like that. Wasn't
Yeah.
expecting either death. Wasn't expecting that. Like, when he came back, I'm like, all right, he gonna take turn the tides. Khamir's gonna run away. We're gonna figure out, there's gonna be another lull. We'll figure something. Nope. He snapped that boy neck. And immediately I felt a wave of, a little bit of relief, because we don't got Seaside Dreads no more. But he didn't really deserve that. He was just being a good soldier or Jedi or whatever you want to put on him at
That
that time
always had
period.
to have his
It's a
lightsaber out.
weird way to categorize them. They're in a weird era.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought that was unexpected, but that shows you where the stakes are. And um I think, to me, kind of clears up the storytelling BS, because in order for you to, one, not expect that, two, like, it's one of those ones where, like, I think, I wouldn't say universally, but I think a lot of people think that Yord was annoying and a Boy Scout, and then, like, his death, like, he did, and maybe they don't feel as remorseful as I do for, hating on him so much. But,
Mm-hmm.
like, um um he did. But Jackie was a little bit different. Jackie is the one that, like, regardless if you didn't like, the makeup design, or that, Daphne Kane was an alien instead of her fine ass self, um, you know, she still was a good character. She was very smart. She was sharp, witty, very introspective. Had a very complex way of thinking, and then was a good soldier when it mattered. And you can tell. So it was two things in that fight right there that, like, made me really feel the intensity. Was, I'm thinking, is Jackie fighting this way because she's using negative emotion, or is Jackie fighting this way by tapping into her loving, protective emotion, and that's why it's coming out the way that it is? But then when she had, like, the second lightsaber, that I don't think that was clunky and overly offensive on accident. I think that was on purpose. I think obviously that was a form she wasn't prepared for, or good at, or was her strength. Um and then, she's fighting this dude that just, like, floated down in front of them. I'd be kind of freaked out too. Um
And already
but
killed a
her
bunch of
death,
Jedi.
right, exactly. So she gave it a good fight, and you get into it, and you're emotional, or you're emotionally tied to this character because you want her to succeed in some way, but she don't. Um, so they're willing to murder characters that you think are going to succeed. Like, I think that one of the twins might even die. You know what I mean? If you want me to speculate, I speculate. One of the twins are going to die. But I will say that the whole them switching kind of came true. Not the
Yeah,
way I
I
thought of it,
thought
but
that too.
I was on track.
I thought that too because in earlier episodes you had predicted that we actually were going to switch Osha's May is Osha, and we do kind of get that because as this fight I don't want to say concludes because it never, doesn't ever really conclude, but um, they do get switched because so May, and I think the reason this all happens is May wants a lightsaber. I think May is like back in the game of maybe trying to be a Sith or this acolyte and needs a Jedi lightsaber crystal to bleed. I definitely think that's her number one objective right now because we see that she tried to take the one from Kelnaka, although Jackie ended up taking that. And then when they switch, so she comes across her sister and she uses this lightsaber to cut her hair. So now she looks just like Osha. She took Osha's clothes and then tricked Soul into thinking that she's, at least we can see. Maybe Soul knows this already and he's just kind of playing along because he does care about both sisters and maybe he just wants to see what the fuck's up. So, nonetheless, whether he's tricked or not, Soul, after not killing the Sith guy, which really pissed my wife off. My wife, I don't even know if she's gonna watch the next show because she was like, if this motherfucker doesn't kill this dude, I'm done with this show. I don't think she was serious. My wife. That's what my wife.
She wanted who to kill who?
She wanted Soul to kill the Sith, the whatever, Smilo Ren.
It's episode 5.
She was like, kill that motherfucker.
He gonna die.
My wife watched Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune every night for years until one of them motherfuckers said something so stupid. She said, I'm fucking done with this. And she's not watched that shit since.
Oh.
That's just the type of person my wife is.
Oh, wow.
Very headstrong and stubborn. That's, hey, listen, right. If you're going to be my partner, I need it.
3 more episodes.
But nonetheless.
Just hold on.
But he had a chance to kill him and he didn't. So that ruffled my wife's feathers. Okay, so as we wrap up this discussion, because I did want to talk about the music video that people are kind of ridiculing. But so this all ends though again with May now pretending to be Osha. She goes with Soul. Then the Sith guy, he's still alive. He finds Osha and looks like, because he's pissed off at May. She tried to betray him. He straight tried to fucking shank her ass many times. But now he's interested in Osha. And I do sense more anger out of Osha. I know she's supposed to be the ex-Jedi, but she definitely seems way more angrier about shit than May. And I know a lot of people, when I say a lot of people, okay, when I was on Superhero Speak, which I am every Sunday, one problem they had was, well, why did May switch to the Jedi so quick? She's doing all this revenge plotting, and of course I'm like, because her sister's alive. Like, I'm gonna kill these motherfuckers because they oh, you're alive. Like, why do you want to still go after somebody if what you think they did didn't happen? But think about this Sith guy sent her to go fight a Wookiee Jedi unarmed. Wouldn't you at some point be like, this is some fuck shit. I don't want to do that.
Like, what is this?
So anyway.
Hey, here's what I need you to do. Okay. You got 3 months to do it. I need you to build a spaceship and fly through the sun and then come back and land. And if you don't do it in 3 months, I'm going to kill you anyway. So go.
Right.
No, I'm not going to fly through the sun. Nothing can fly through the sun for real. Like, what?
I'm not Dark Phoenix.
We should drink this bleach right fast.
Right. Like, no, I don't want to. How dare you? Yeah. You don't care for me if you're sending me to do shit like that. So anyway, that just stuck out to me as another dumb complaint. I also think, please do this. Please, if somebody can talk to Leslie Headland, please do. I know that the show is already done, but please do this quick edit. At least tack it on to the end of the last episode. Please have it canonized. Just say, oh, yeah, have the Kiadamundi in this show. Have them like, oh, this is my grandson, Kiadamundi, just so everyone can shut the fuck up about the Kiadamundi age thing and be like, oh, if we would have just waited, we would have seen that we were just complaining over nothing. So
Not
please do
established.
that, please.
It's not established. I don't
Right,
want them to do it. I want them to do that even less. I want them to make
leave it out
Kun
there.
Hedafucky uh 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 be as terrible as we know him to be. That's what I need him to.
That's the most ridiculous shit, though. Like people are really
The
building
fact,
their like church on the
right,
Kiadamundi
over the
rock.
worst Jedi ever.
It's like,
Over the worst one, bro. He is wrong every time. He was wrong in Clone Wars. Like I think he was like trying to tell Anakin he couldn't do something in Clone Wars. And I'm just like, dude, shut the fuck. What do you do? How are you on the console, bro? No wonder why Anakin was like Johnny Manziel on the Browns. How you got Josh McCown over here telling me what I can and can't do? You is 74 years old trying to play quarterback, bro. With Tiger.
yeah.
Jeez. It's the worst. Like, listen, if it was, so my other thing about this is like,
It's like
I mean,
RC Cola trying to tell Coke what to do. Come on, shut up.
right. It kind of goes into the Amanda Stenberg thing, but it's this thing about like, she was handed the role. Okay. Samuel L. Jackson has a purple lightsaber because he wanted to have a purple lightsaber, and then they like incorporated it in the canon. Who cares who they picked, who they thought they would want to be? And then if you don't know who Amanda Stenberg, I keep saying Stenberg, but Stenberg is, then I know you do. I know you do. So that's. I'm not even gonna go to the next point that I was gonna make. You've seen Hunger Games. Be quiet. So, I don't know. It's. I think they should just leave it. I think everything is fine. I think that people are trying to just find something to justify what their original incorrect logic was. It's usually what happens when. So I've been debating chuddy type people. I'm not saying that the people who disagree, all of the people who disagree with or don't like the Acolyte or whatever, are chuds. But
No, but
when
when
they
they're not
use
chuds, they hold Star Wars to a standard that's just ridiculous.
it's yeah, that it's never been to. But even if they aren't chuds, they're using chud arguments, so that's why they get roped in. Well, if you don't want to be roped in, then stop sounding like a Nazi. So, um, um, the issue that I have is that if you just let things play out the way they need to, you're going to get everything that you say and said that you wanted. And I've debated them for those type of people for a long time. And so I grew up in the comic book stores, even though I didn't get comics, the Game Stops, the smoke sessions, the parties where there were girls at it, but we were sitting over in the corner talking about Star Wars like a bunch of nerds, which is why we didn't get laid back then. And we talked about all these things that we wanted to see. And I say the thing about the debates is one of the things that I try to do when I have a debate is understand where somebody's coming from. And when I'm having a political conversation or something like, because that's usually where this tactic works most. It's not even a tactic. It's just like getting you to tell me what you're really feeling instead of gaslighting me. When you really boil it down, because like a quick argument that I can make, right, is when they say this one, black people commit 51% of all crime. Well, I can so debunk that so quickly, it's not even funny. So what are you actually trying to say? Why do you believe such an easily debunkable fact? What is it really that you're trying to have a conversation about? And then if you feel weird having that conversation, maybe maybe it's because your worldview and logic is kind of fucked up and outdated and needs to end and isn't what the problem with the world is, and the fact that you have that mindset makes them be louder. The more you try to put gay people in the closet, they're gonna keep screaming and pushing the door open. The more you keep trying to take me away from being equal, the more I'm gonna keep showing that I am as equal as you, if not better. And I don't want to be better to be better. I'm just better because I'm actually we can be better than y'all sometimes. And we don't have to do twice as much. We can just be better as people, as intellects, as whatever. You don't like that. Okay, we get that. You're going to have to deal with it like a grown adult. And that's what the Star Wars conversation ends up being, is when you break it down and you show them what the story actually was, or you break down the real logic of what the first Star Wars is about. And if you apply that logic to the rest of the Star Wars movies, they make way more sense that way. And you break that all down and then you leave them with their base argument. What are you actually mad at? And if you can't have that conversation because that's going to make you sound racist or make you sound misogynistic or just make you be a bigot in general, then I'm sorry, pal. You're a bigot and you need to do the work within yourself to fix it. I can't. I try to have a conversation. You say that I'm divisive and you kick me off the internet and I get permanently banned off Twitch for saying documented facts that you're literally seeing played out in the Middle East right now. I don't hate those group of people. I just don't want a whole nother group of people to be murdered because you think that Jesus is coming back. Sorry, that's a little weird. And since that's not really how that works, when you boil that down, what do you actually believe? And then when we peel it back, it ends up being the other shit that we were saying, that like, if that's what you guys are, just admit that. We're going to ignore you and watch the show and you can be over there. But the fact that they get 2 million, someone can get 2 million views in a day with this bullshit, and we will barely crack maybe 100. Man, that's it right there. So, I mean, that, yeah, I don't get it, and I want to get it. So please explain it to me while we debunk all your arguments
immediately. Yeah, I mean, because and when I look at this particular episode, I only have one minor complaint, and that is the whole like trying to get the bugs to kill the Sith guy. Like, I didn't quite understand. Like, I get it. Osha's smart. That's her like force power. But you sold that to me like 2 episodes ago. Like, I can already see how smart she is. So I felt that was out of place. So that's where
I hear you. So how it was discussed on the other show about like what was the point of these bugs? Well, the point of the bugs was to get rid of the guy that killed everybody away from you, because he probably gonna kill you too. And the lightsabers ain't working. So why don't this thing that I figured out in the last episode, that was the point of the last episode.
Right.
The point of the last episode is to set up the surroundings, set up the environment, build up the suspense that you're going to see a Jedi Wookiee fight, which I still think that you're going to see in flashbacks. But
I've heard of such, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the callback that at the end of the day, you know, maybe the Jedi shouldn't have given up on Osha. Maybe if they hadn't given up on Osha and, you know, and in turn, instead of giving up on Osha, giving up on their people, whatever they did back in the day, or whatever it is that kicked Osha out or got Osha kicked out of the Jedi Academy or whatever, probably is the ultimate, is added on top of the ultimate flaw. The only way that you're going to get that is if you just watch the shit objectively and let it hit you. And it's one of those things where the only reason why I'm gonna co-opt the co-opters language. The only reason why I'm gonna bootlick Disney right now and let them tell me the story is because it's their universe and they have the right to tell the story the way that they want to tell the story. So I should just accept it and analyze it the way that it is. But also because this show is so Star Wars. It's not. It's for the people that really say that they hate it so much. Like, you really aren't. You're not watching. Like, they really took care to rhyme, like George, like I always mention George saying. Um, there was a scene where the lightsaber was stuck in the dirt. How many times have we seen that?
Right.
Every saga, every arc is in every one. There's been the lightsaber in the sand and they pull it out with the force. Just seeing the Sith back. All these things. There's just so much stuff or the dark side, I should say. But there's so many things that are going on that's so Star Wars that the hate and toxicity is just reaching to a boiling point.
Thank you again for watching the video, but again, I must say we do need your help to get past the hate algorithm, to get our just and positive takes on Star Wars out there amongst the rest of the Drek. So please like and subscribe to the video. We would appreciate it oh so much.